In the last video, I talked about a story where I bought 10 shares of stock in Joe's Bakery. So Joe's Bakery, he was just starting out. He needed $50,000 to start his business. He was able to raise that $50,000 from his friends and family, and you gave him $5,000. So now you get 10% of Joe's company. And let's say that Joe goes and runs his business for a year. He gets everything started up. He starts making pies and selling them. He's got a few employees. He's got a little bit of an advertising budget. And let's say he comes back to all 10 of you. Well, he's one of the 10 of you. So he gathers the 10 of you together at the end of the year and he says, hey, I've got $10,000 in profit. So I've, bought all of the equipment. I've been paying salaries to all of the employees, running the advertising budget, buying supplies that it takes to make pies, making the pies, selling the pies. I've got $10,000 profit at the end of the year. So how much of that $10,000 profit are you entitled to? Well, you own 10% of the company because you've got 10% of the shares of Joe's Bakery. So you're entitled to 10% of that $10,000. So you get $1,000 of that money. But you've got a decision to make, the 10 of you, and you each get one vote because you each have 1/10 of the company for what do you want to do with that $10,000? You can either split it up among the 10 of you and Joe can keep on running his business and we'll see what he makes next year. Or you can funnel that money back into the company. You can give that $10,000 to Joe and say, hey, Joe, could you start up maybe, maybe get a truck and sell your pies around county fairs or something like that. Do you want to set up a second location? Do you want to sell your pies over the internet? Would those things help you? And, would any of that help you make more money? And Joe says, well, you know, if we did set up a website and start selling things over the internet, that probably would bring in a lot more money. And that would cost about $10,000 to do. So what we decide to do as a company is instead of taking that $10,000 profit for ourselves, we're going to funnel it back into the company. So now, instead of owning a 10% of a company worth $50,000, I now own 10% of a company that's worth $60,000. So now this stock certificate is worth $6,000. That's pretty nice. So that gives you an idea of two ways that you can make money in the stocks. The first way is if a company makes a profit and they decide to pay it out to all of their shareholders, that's called a dividend. Okay. And large established companies that have been around for a long time tend to pay dividends. So for instance, let's think about RG&E. So if RG&E makes a big profit one year, they don't really want to go out and build new power plants or something like that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. They've got enough power plants for serving the community that they serve. So rather than investing the money in their company, they pay out their money to all of their investors. And so a utility like RG&E is going to have big dividends. And by contrast, a smaller company, a company that hasn't been around for a long time, is going to want to take that money and use it to grow. So imagine the way Amazon was 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, Amazon was a quickly growing company, but they were finding new and new markets that were allowing it to grow faster and faster and faster. So it was using its profits to make itself even bigger and pay even bigger profits in the future. So those are an idea of the two ways that stocks can grow, either by paying dividends. And so you would like to own shares that pay dividends. It's kind of like having an income, or buying shares of stock because you think the stock is going to become more valuable over time.